place to belong or looking for a place to be, and that they were constantly asked to move on and they weren't welcome in lots of spaces.
Do you have a relationship with ecology?
Not ecology, I think probably more often working in urban spaces, because I work in the metro area and deal with people.
When I was walking there, I feel the sensation of walking with the words, with the thoughts, concretely. I don't know to say this. That's why I stopped. I feel around. It was not an exercise for me. It was a different sensation. Different, you're not.
But isn't it like what happened somehow? Because, and especially here in Bulgaria, I mean, they've been changing all the time. So it's the same kind of identity problem. But within Europe, it happens. So it could be like the Bolivian situation in South America. It could be the Eastern Europe.
We spent hours talking about this, the great change in Latin America. From this experience,
but we learn more. We know how to open, but not open all the time. Just sometimes, then cannot force the nature to. Nature cannot stop us to stop thinking about my mom or my father died, but keep the time for when we have to decide or let him go, from the heart, not make upset long time, and this is nature. Like now it's sad, cannot say stop sad, stop, cannot control because he died, and when we open mind to decide, he died. Step by step, yes, step by step. Cannot control quick. Just make a time and let go. So, nature, we cannot control and tell. Like cloud, storm, rain, hot. Time. Yeah, but people have a little bit different from nature. People we kept mind to keep the control, yeah. But not 100%. Like now I'm crying, cannot stop like stop crying at the moment, just take time, and people need community and say something and stop. But like the bird, when we start to fly, and when they stop, they have to cannot jumping and stop.
Too free.
Yeah, just a little bit like plan, and stop.
Her foot was it's only her problem, because if she believes the whole species like the other, and they say not well,
It's not home, it's not work, it's not life, it's not wife.
but
But it's a place of recreation and representation by my practice and my approach. Even if one doesn't have an art
or even your
outcome.
presence.
Yeah. Even if there isn't an art product at the end of a community-engaged policy, it's sort of like a deliberative democracy project, really. But it's still my practice, so it's looking at trying to name that hybridity. But I can see something like this. I mean, you can frame it in so many different ways as performance. or as process, or as dialogue,
All of those things.
Yeah.
or all of those things.
Because if you are talking about like cultural transition and also like recreation and re-dreaming, it does sound like it would be really useful for the kind of like traditional Aboriginal to contemporary understanding of traditional Indigenous ideas.
And reciprocity, right? So back.
The Germans
Started by an architect,
partly because he also
working
includes
at
an essay by Carl Jung.
many different professions.
Carl Jung talks about synchronicity.
One of the things they do, to make a lot of homages, and so they don't get so involved or interested in the in the proposal. And maybe I think with the work I do, that the best thing is to seduce people doing things.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly
And
what
it's
I'm
the best
talking
way
about.
to start something.
Yes, but
But it means to break the schemes of the academics or the cooperation, because it means that you start almost voluntarily and going downsizing maybe to the territory, to the place, to people, and then to fit your proposal with the necessity of the person. This is, I think, the most difficult part, because it's a longer process. It's something you have to work a lot. You have to change. You have to readapt. You have
Like imagining places you can walk.
They're very useful the way of working.
No, we haven't actually. No, we haven't.
Fashion would be better able to tell. It's basically friendly artists and philosophers engaged in different styles of walking. Derive, as I understand it, is fling yourself into the city. It's urban. But you have no plan.
Drifting.
You drift. And so you let different influences allow you to have a completely other way of walking, a way without purpose, basically.
Yeah, but actually someone else would take that. Yeah. For change. Yeah, actually there's two things. There's the derive you just mentioned, that was the situationist. But
Yeah.
before that, this idea of walking almost aimlessly and letting the subconscious drive you and letting you dream the city and therefore rediscover it is an idea from the surrealist. Yeah, especially the late Dada, actually the same people, I just changed their name. So the surrealists. And when the situationists came later, their idea was more actually to use some randomness, to use some accidents, but to have an objective. And their objective was to break the structures, the existing structures of the city. The idea of psychogeography is really with the derive to break. So for example, some of their techniques were to walk more or less frantically, then maybe to take a taxi to suddenly arrive at another location, to find shortcuts in order to change, to cut the ambiances of the city and get into different psychogeographies, or very often to get very drunk before doing the experiment, so that you have a different way of experiencing the city, without only stressing the subconscious. It was a very, so to say,